Hi, I'm Matt Pierce with TechSmith Corporation with Shane, the project manager for Camtasia Studio and Camtasia Mac. We're here today with the 24 and 24. We're going to be talking about Camtasia Studio and Camtasia Mac, giving you lots of tips, tricks, and all sorts of fun stuff. So first thing I want to do this morning, though, is we want to talk to Shane as he's new in his role as a product manager, for Camtasia Studio and Camtasia Mac. Welcome, Shane. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your history with TechSmith and what kind of things you do?
Sure. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. It's good to be here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. So my name is Shane Lavellet, and I am the product manager for Camtasia Studio and Camtasia for Mac, and I started in that role back the summer of last year. Before that, I started with TechSmith back in 2003, and so I came on and started working on Moray, which is TechSmith's usability software, and that was before it was out in the market. So we basically created the product then and released that in 2004, and so I was the product manager on that product. Well, I still am the product manager on that product as well, but and now I'm doing Camtasia Studio and Camtasia for Mac as well. So, but before TechSmith, my background, my undergrad is in television, radio, film production. So I went to Syracuse University and graduated from there with that degree, Bachelor of Science degree in production, and did a lot of work in video production before I went back to school and got my master's, and before coming to TechSmith. So I did a lot of, worked for a small production company called Future Media, where we did a lot of network production. We did work for ABC and Fox, and did a lot of things like Real Stories of the Highway Patrol. We would do ride-alongs with the state troopers in Michigan, and
Wow.
we'd film that, and then that would get put on the air in different stories. Had a few of those make it on to
Very
that
cool.
show. So yeah, it was really interesting.
So how do you find that background with someone who's probably intimately familiar with video and television? How do you find that affects your thought process about Camtasia Studio and screencasting and screen recording?
Well, I think it helps a lot. Back when I was doing that kind of work, it was early on, so nonlinear editing was just pretty new on the scene. I have a lot of experience working with Avid. That was the big tool that came on the scene back when nonlinear editing first started becoming popular. And before that, it was tape machines and rewinding tape and all that to be able to edit. And you had to be very careful about doing edits, because once you did them, they were done. You couldn't fix them, or just change them as easily as you can now with software. So I think it helps a lot to be able to have that experience of how the industry has changed so much over time, and also to be able to apply cinematography and storytelling techniques from a video perspective to screencasting, because in a lot of ways it's the same. You're trying to tell a story, you're just using a different medium. When
Right.
you're recording the screen and be able to show people how to do things in training or tell a story in that respect. So I think there's a lot of similarities.
Oh yeah, I see that too. That as someone who creates training materials, that the story is really an important piece, and I don't know that a good story doesn't change regardless of how you're telling it. It's whatever medium you use, it's important to have that story be solid.
Exactly.
So we've actually had a lot of activity with Camtasia Studio and Camtasia for Mac. We just released Camtasia 7.
Yep.
We've got it up here on the screen. Why don't you walk us through some of the things that you think are really important for people to know about Camtasia Studio 7, things that maybe change, things that you are really happy with, or I guess
Sure.
kind of from your perspective as someone who's trying to help the product get out to the market and
Right. Absolutely.
go to our customers.
Well, one of the great things about Camtasia Studio 7 is it's easier than ever now to make your videos look more polished, look more professional, because one of the new features that is added is the library tab. And so we did an agreement partnership with Digital Juice, and Digital Juice is a content provider. They make pre-made content that looks really good, really professional, that people can just use and add to their videos to make them look really polished. And so with our library tab now, we ship with Camtasia Studio a lot of different themed assets of different types of animated backgrounds for your video, and different types of backgrounds for title clips, and also matching callouts, and also audio, so that you can add some background music that you can use royalty-free as part of your projects to be able to make them more professional.
So I can put these into any project, any use, wherever I want, and I'm okay using them.
Absolutely,
Great.
absolutely, yep. So for example, here is just an animation of one of the Digital Juice assets that's included with Camtasia Studio 7. Just a really nice background animation, looks really polished, really professional. that you can add to your videos easily. So, this kind of thing you could use as an open, and we even include some that are called sequences. And the sequences then include more than just a video clip. They'll include the audio and the video and the title clip. So if I wanted to add this, for example, at the beginning of this project down here, I could just drag that down and put that right on the timeline. And then that would add that as an open part of the project so that you could have an intro. So if you wanted to do branded type opens and closes with your videos, if you're in a company and you want to have consistency across your video projects, and you've got your logo and you want to build that, you could create those as sequence assets, save them to your library. You could even very easily share those out and be able to then use those over and over again without having to recreate those. And your library is always available across any project within Camtasia Studio, so you don't have to go and find these assets over and over again. Every new project you start, your library tab is there. Everything that's in your library is always accessible from any one of those projects. Another great thing about the library is we actually have a more media page on our website that you can go to. If you go to our TechSmith.com and the Camtasia Studio product page, there's a library media link. And on that page, you can actually download additional media assets that you can add to your library. And again, these are things that you can use and add to your videos to help them look more polished. One of the things we have on here is the Digital Juice assets again, but in widescreen format. So if you are doing most of your work in widescreen aspect ratios, you can download the same assets as widescreen aspect ratio.
So the ones in the product right now are the 4:3 kind of?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So then you can get the widescreen ones. You can simply download those. It's download as a library zip package, and you just open that and it'll automatically add it to your library within Camtasia Studio. And then we also have some that we don't include currently in the project in Camtasia Studio 7 directly, but you can download these from the website. And these are some additional types of different assets that are just different types of backgrounds. Again, some additional sequence type assets like this bustling boxes, or there's a really nice one called Screenplay that's very cool that our Brooks Andrus internally created, very talented. And we also have some additional just backgrounds, different types of architectural type backgrounds you can use for different title clips, things like that. And then additional call outs as well. And you can get some music track assets. So there's a lot of new content, additional content that you can get to really help spice up your videos from the more media page as well.
So let's say if I'm in an organization and we're going to be doing the sharing across maybe different, we're all working on different projects, but we want consistency. Maybe we want to create our own like title slides. Is it easy to get those back and forth between, like, so I could share it with you or you could share it with me?
Yep, absolutely. So for example, say you wanted to share this Welcome to Camtasia Studio slide here. I could select this area on the timeline. If I right click on that, I can just add that to the library. And now I have a sequence asset here in my library, and you could rename that. But to then share it, all you have to do is right click on that and export library. So if you have a single item selected in your library and you choose export, it'll export just that item, or you can select multiple things, or you can select everything in your library and export it. But then when I export that library, you just pick a location, save that out, and then you can send that, attach it in an email, however you want to, save it on a shared network drive, and then send that to whoever in the organization wants to use that. They would just have to save it locally on their machine, double click it, and it'll automatically put that into their library.
Okay.
So it's very easy to save those kind of assets and share them throughout an organization.
Very cool. I definitely like the library. I know my group that they create a lot of the training videos for TechSmith. I know we're excited about that, making it easy to pull in these assets. Are there any other features you want to mention before we wrap up our time here?
Yeah, actually one of the other really cool ones that we've done, again, a lot of Camtasia Studio 7 is all about making you look better, making those videos look great without you having to do a lot of effort. And so in the callouts, we've revamped our callouts significantly, so they look a lot better. They just look more polished and more professional. Let me move over here on my timeline. So they have a nice glossy look. Another neat feature that we've added is the ability to rotate your callouts in 360 degrees. You used to not be able to do that. It was either just had to be on
Right.
up, down, left, right. You didn't have a lot of functionality there. So now you can rotate your arrows. It's easy to adjust. Even you have some additional shape adjustments that you can do to these kind of callouts. But another really cool feature is the sketch motion callouts. And these actually draw on the screen so that it looks like your hand drawing on it, sort of like a telestrator. And so it really helps add a lot of emphasis to whatever you're trying to show or the point you're trying to make in your video. And so when you add these to your video, I'll play that.
The green section of the
You know,
playhead
just
is
kinda
called
draws
the
right on
endpoint.
screen. You can adjust the color of these, you can adjust how long they take to draw on the screen. So you have a lot of functionality. Again, you can rotate them. And these are really helpful for really focusing the viewer's attention right on a specific part of the screen that you're talking about and wanted them to focus on, because it draws their attention with that motion.
Yeah, I know I've loved the new call-outs, the way it works. And in fact, this is really probably a simple change, but for me, one of the best things that we've done with Camtasia Studio is just, I love that I can just drag images onto my call-out track. I
Yes.
no longer have to go through this process of the custom call-out, because we tend to using a lot of images and a lot of custom
Right.
things. And so I know it's definitely made my life easier to help create videos. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the cool things, I'll give you a sneak peek here of in the library that's we haven't released yet, but it'll be coming out, or some additional sketch motion, and we'll be releasing these through our More Media page. But we've got a whole bunch of additional shapes and types of sketch motion callouts that are coming, including some that just say words like no or yes. So here, I'll put this yes one down on my timeline here so you can see how that one looks. And so it's just a matter of adding that to your timeline. And let me back up, and you can see
The end of a
that'll draw
selection.
on there.
To bring the sections of
So
the
very
playhead
cool.
back
You
together,
know, and then again, I
double-click
can adjust timing of this, so I can go in and, you know, extend the time of how long that takes to actually draw on the screen, so that you can
Point to make
adjust
the end of a
how much, how
selection.
well it looks, or whatever, how
To
you
bring
want
the
that effect
sections
to
of the
look on
playhead back
screen.
together,
So it's very cool.
double-click the grid.
That is
Yeah.
very cool.
So those will be coming soon.
To
So
split
pay
it.
atten- So our More Media page will be releasing new assets like this on a regular basis over time, so that people can get new pieces and they have new assets to really make their videos more original as well.
Well, just before we wrap up, one last question I want to ask. So, we know that, you know, as a product manager, you're driving kind of the direction of the product. What is it that, as I guess customers, how can we be most likely to be heard, or help you to know what we're looking for as customers trying to, you know, as users of the product, that maybe we've got an idea or something. How can we get in touch with you? What would you like to? How would you like to hear from us?
Sure. Well, one simple way is through our website. You can always go within the product, is to share feedback with us. And if you go to TechSmith on the web, you can send feedback, and that's take you to a forum where you can fill out information. You can contact through our support. If you have support problems as well, you can always get in touch with us and share your feedback about new features, new ideas that way. I think the biggest thing that helps us the most is really describing the problem that you're trying to solve, so that we can have an understanding of what the real issue is that you're facing as a customer, and so we can really brainstorm and get creative in different ways on how we could solve that problem. So rather than just a specific, specific feature request, also describing what problem you're trying to solve will help us really be able to solve it in unique and creative ways.
All right. Well, Shane, I appreciate you being here this morning. We know it's early.
Yeah, no problem.
We thank you for your time, and we're looking forward to using Camtasia Studio 7 more in my department, at least. So
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I love Camtasia Studio 7 is just great. I mean, it's really exciting. It's a lot more fun to use, and the UI is a big improvement. So we're really excited and ready to build on this going forward in the future as well.
I agree. So thanks, Shane.
Yep, thank you.